Hey, what's up guys, TechTine here, and this is my camera review of the all-new Samsung Galaxy A17. Well, technically, kind of new. So the international model has been out for a while, and I did a couple of videos on that, but this is the US model, and it does have some changes that are not really that positive, but that's going to be a video for another day. This one is going to be more focused on the actual camera experience and the full camera review, beginning with the actual design of the camera cutout. So this time around with the A17, they kept a consistent camera look and feel that is kind of the same as the Galaxy A26 and the Galaxy A36, as well as the Galaxy A56. So a familiar camera design in that regard. And you also get a triple camera setup. So you get a 50 megapixel main sensor with optical image stabilization that was not found in the previous generation. In addition to that, you get a 5 megapixel ultra wide as well as a 2 megapixel macro sensor. So the real big change from the previous generation is the addition of optical image stabilization. Everything else is pretty much the same. Now, as far as I'm concerned, the camera interface is very quick, very fluid. I really haven't had issues with it, and that has been the case for a long time with Samsung devices. Switching between modes, taking pictures is very quick, very fluid. Going from video to portrait to ultra wide to your main sensor to even the 2x, and this phone does have the ability for a 10x digital zoom, which obviously is not going to be as crisp of a quality as the main sensor, but it does the job. Okay, so now that we talked about the camera interface, I do want to focus a little bit more on the image quality, the video quality, the night photography, and the color accuracy. So let's go ahead and get started, and that's where things will show you that this is, at the end of the day, a $200 device. So the images that the A17 produces under good lighting conditions are good. They're not that bad considering that this phone is a sub $200 device. However, in some scenarios, it can produce inconsistent coloring. So in some scenarios, it's decently with colors. Other scenarios, it's aggressive, especially if there's a kind of background with it, like a sky or anything like that. It can be a little bit aggressive. And also the other thing that I want to say as far as colors go and sharpness, it's decent. It's not going to be the most color accurate phone. In some scenarios, like I said, the pictures are inconsistent and can look flat. In other scenarios, they look decent. Now, the ultra wide on this device is also something that is not that good. It's a 5 megapixel ultra wide camera that produces cartoony pictures that is just not that good, but it does the job. It gives you the ultra wide field of view, and overall though, from a kind of a sub $200 device, it's going to give you the results of a sub $200 device. Is it a massive improvement from the previous generation? A little bit. So it does produce a more stable shot, so it's a little bit more sharper than the previous generation. That's thanks to the optical image stabilization that is found on here. But as far as actual colors and image quality itself, for the most part, it hasn't really changed all that much, so keep that in mind. Lower lighting conditions is also something that this phone is going to struggle with, but that's to be expected as well. As far as the selfie camera goes, it's slightly better than the previous generation. However, it is a little bit oversaturated and it's aggressive on that regard. Now, video quality. So the video quality on here is maxed out at 1080p, which is something that I guess some people complain about, saying that I wish I had 4K, but I feel like for this phone at this price point, 1080p should be plenty. And it does shoot also the same 1080p on the front-facing camera as well. You guys get to see that here in a second, but yeah, overall 1080p is the max resolution that you can get on this phone, so no 4K. But watch the 1080p video that's going to come out of this device, and then you tell me your judgment. Hey, what's up guys, TechTine here, and this is your video test of the Samsung Galaxy A17. So this phone does give a upgrade from the previous generation in stabilization. So you do have optical image stabilization with EIS that is used for video. And overall, the max resolution on this device is 1080p. However, a couple of cool features that you can do on a lot of Samsung phones is you can go from your main sensor to your ultra wide. Now, what that means is that you will lose a little bit of resolution, but it gives you a wider field of view. And there is a slight pause, but that's not a big deal. In addition to that, you can also switch to the selfie camera simultaneously while shooting video. So that's also something to note. Now, the selfie camera did receive a slight improvement and it looks a little bit better. Overall, not too shabby for a phone under 200 bucks. So here's my conclusion on the Galaxy A17's camera. So if we're looking at this from a strength versus weakness, then the strength of this camera are the following. You get optical image stabilization on the main sensor for sharper everyday shots with a little bit more stability. The selfie camera on here is a little bit better from the previous generation. Night mode did improve a little bit, but it's not all that crazy. If we're looking at the weakness, you don't get 4K video on this device, and which means that you're limited to 1080p. Also, the ultra wide and the macro sensor are limited as far as detail and just quality in general. Overall though, as a bottom line, this phone is gonna give you respectable pictures for a budget device. Great for daily photography. If you use it for social media posts, you might get inconsistent shots, but if you find the right picture, then you should be fine. Overall though, not too shabby. Not the greatest improvement that I would have liked to see, but that's just what Samsung brought us with the A17. Obviously, if you want a better camera, you just have to up your budget. So with that being said, I do want to thank you all so much for watching. I do greatly appreciate you all, and make sure you subscribe if you haven't. A lot of great content is coming soon. So I will catch you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching.